Hey friends, welcome to A Scene Rose Tarot and to my first pick a card reading. I'm really excited to start sharing these readings with you all. I've been studying tarot since probably about 2016, 2017, and it's just kind of become a bigger and bigger part of my life, and I've really felt the call and felt the pull recently to start sharing this gift and sharing this talent with others. My name is Emily. I live in the United States, and I'm really excited to kind of start sharing these readings with you. Our topic today, the first topic that I kind of wanted to start out with, is what should I be focusing on right now, and what guidance can come through about what my guides are pushing me to kind of deal with in my life, process, learn more about. How can I kind of become the best version of myself in this moment? It's Aries season. It's kind of a time when we're turning over a new leaf. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, as I do, it's becoming springtime. I think we just celebrated the spring equinox. I've got my sunshine and daffodils candle right here. The daffodils are blooming all around where I live. And with turning over this new leaf, we're kind of thinking about how we can, what we can take action on, what we can do better. And I just kind of wanted to maybe bring through some guidance about what areas of your life you can best optimize at this moment. So this is going to be a pick a pile reading. I have 4 different decks here, as you can see, and I'll give you a couple moments in just a second to kind of feel into what deck best resonates with you. I'm not going to say the names of the decks right out, so you can kind of jive with the imagery here, but I will mention them as we go through the piles, and I'll link them in the description box if there are any that call to you that you want to incorporate for your personal use. But at any rate, we have pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. So I'm just going to give you a few seconds to kind of choose your pile, and then we will move into the readings. Hi, pile 1. So the deck you chose, this deck here, is called Le Nouveau Tarot, and it's kind of an interesting deck. It's an art deck. It's not one that I've really seen on pick-a-cards on YouTube. It's actually, I think it was created by this creator named Avery von Ringel, and it's kind of like a collage deck. And as you can see, it's very kind of like avant-garde. It's just like, it's really kind of different. And like the energy that I'm kind of getting from, your pile, therefore, is that, you're potentially like a sort of an innovator and potentially a bit of an avant-garde person yourself, at least on the inside. But I'm feeling right now that, so your bottom of the deck energy was this 3 of Pentacles card here. And so I do think that the area that Spirit is kind of wanting to highlight right now in your life is work. I mean, the 3 of Pentacles tends to be, a card that speaks of work, career, collaboration, at times creativity, the legacy or the effect that you're leaving in the world. And I'm getting the sense that potentially you have 3 main things that you're focusing on right now in your life. Like you may have career, you may have family, you may have an outside project. It's I kind of just get the sense that there are 3 big things in your life right now, like three priorities or 3 sort of areas of obligation that you really almost kind of feel hemmed in by. Like you see this character here just is kind of, these flowers are, they're beautiful, they're flourishing, but this person feels kind of hemmed in, and we've got these tusks here, and it almost feels sort of like a disguise almost. Like this person is, you can't even tell who it is obviously, but it just kind of it's I don't know, they're having to show up in a certain way and play a certain role because of these 3 responsibilities. I just get the sense that there are 3 important areas of your life that you're focusing on, and maybe you don't feel in sort of triangulating between those things, that there's really any time for you, or that you're able to kind of be who you ultimately are. Maybe that's something that you're kind of working on discovering right now, but it's just kind of what I'm feeling and getting. But ultimately, I do think this is potentially about your ability to show up in your work life, and in your sort of more public life as the person that you are. And I think what's interesting here is, again, we start out with the Knight of Wands. This is this, Valet de Bâton. This deck is in French, but at any rate, yeah, this is the Knight of Wands card, and I'm feeling that this is really kind of an inner fire. Like this is the you that's kind of bursting to get out, and there may be moments which, like, like you're in a certain situation and something happens, and like you feel a little triggered, and your gut wants you to respond in a certain way, like you have a certain reaction that's like coming from your truest self, but because of this sort of stifling energy, you feel you can't express that, and it's kind of like this inner need to express your truth and to express who you are is really it's really starting to weigh on you. Like this, the Knight of Wands energy is just sort of like a buoyant, like kind of, I don't want to say aggressive, but it's like this energy that really wants to get out. And you can see in combination here, this is the Nine of Swords card. This is really starting to weigh on you. It's starting to cause you a lot of stress. Like you see these sort of these like lightning strike type of lines. Like it's making you. I'm hearing the word frazzled. Like it's just it's like dividing. It's making it hard for you to focus on things because like you're so. It's like your mind is in another place, or like your attention just feels really divided, and you kind of have this space in the middle. And I'm getting the sense it's like this energy that's potentially coming from your past. Like maybe it was someone who told you that you couldn't be a certain way, or maybe even I'm hearing playground bully. Like it was like someone who stifled your expression at a very early age, and you didn't. Someone who told you that if you acted a certain way, you were going to have to face certain consequences that were going to be really, upsetting for you. Just someone who acted as a real roadblock in the development of your truest self. And that person's impact has stayed with you until now. Like you're still feeling it. Your guide's spirit is telling you that it's time for you to kind of move past that. Like this is something that you're working on right now. And again, like this sort of, I don't know, mink character. I don't even know what animal that is. But it's reminding me of like a mink, and like it's kind of separated. I'm hearing the phrase "a house divided." So, of course, maybe you've heard the phrase "a house divided cannot stand." And it's like it's creating this real schism, this real separation in your consciousness. And that's really stressing you out, in terms of like who you have to be for other people and who you want to be for yourself. And so that's causing a lot of issues for you internally. And I think, again, like this eight of Pentacles, like there's this gift or this sort of creative expression that you have inside of you, or, a skill, whatever it may be, that like wants to kind of come out, like there's, like if you could be anything, it's like you would be like this particular thing. Like maybe you're, like with your music or your writing or, your art, it's like you're really different in some way. And it's like you want to have a sort of license to give yourself to that fully and be that thing, or and stand behind that thing as doing that thing in the world, but you feel like you can't because of like the current role that you're filling, or, whatever role it is that you're playing, both like for your family or for your, the career that you're currently in, or whatever it is. It's like, I'm hearing almost like maybe it's not even like a specific talent. I mean, it could be, but it's almost like, it's like an expression of you. It's just like the Eight of, like, this card, normally the Eight of Pentacles talks about practice and a particular, work or skill, but like this card, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you can see here. These things are literally like, they're sperm that are going to kind of towards this eight, which, you kind of feels like an egg or something. It's like some expression of you or some version of you that's like wanting to come to life. It's wanting to kind of come to fruition. And again, the energy of this character right here is very kind of like take it or, like, I'm hearing the phrase like take it or leave it, take me as I am. Like, just like I'm hearing like I'm coming out, kind of that song, like, I'm coming out, like just, this version of you, like this, what you're being forced to be right now isn't you really, like it's not, and you're just tired of being that, and it's really starting to weigh on you. So yeah, this expression of you, whether it be a particular thing you want to do or a version of yourself, how you want to present yourself to the world. This is that. This is what wants to kind of come out. It's like, this is like the drive towards that. This is like the feeling, the emotion, and this is like the actual being, like who you would be if you weren't so stifled. And then I think what we've got here, we have the King of Swords. And I feel like what's interesting here is, like, if you kind of look at this face that we looked at earlier here, this kind of angry, almost like child face, which again kind of makes me feel like this relates to your past, to your childhood. Here we have the King of Swords, which honestly I feel like this King of Swords is like your manifestation now in your life as like an adult or a young adult or whatever the case may be. It's like the sort of manifestation of this person in your life now. And this King of Swords is someone who's, I'm hearing like standing in your way, and I'm hearing there's this dog here with these like teeth exposed, and I am hearing like bark is worse than bite though. So it's possible that like this person may legitimately be standing in your way of you being yourself in some way, shape, or form, but like part of the reason why you sense that they're standing in your way is because you're projecting these past experiences onto that person. They have a similar energy, or like they're in a similar role in your life, or and it's like you are fighting them like objectively in a sense, but you're also like kind of fighting yourself for what you need to grow past. And so that's there's like a specific force and like I'm hearing like a specific person. It feels like, again, King of Swords, this is like a masculine type of energy, whether it's actually a man or a woman with a more masculine energy. And again, given that I am getting kind of like a work and career feeling to this reading with the Three of Pentacles, it could be like a boss is definitely something that I'm feeling. A boss, or like really honestly just like a work situation that isn't really compatible with you, with like who you are as a person, with this sort of this Eight of Pentacles, like sort of creative, or like I'm hearing like kind of like bohemian, artsy, like it's like I'm seeing like an image of like a suit, like kind of like the sort of idea of like suits, people, corporate, and you're just like not compatible with that. And so I guess what we need to kind of figure out is this a situation that you need to move on from? I'm kind of feeling that it is eventually a situation that you probably need to move on from, but how can you, I think the operative consideration right now is like, how can you kind of heal this energy within yourself that's like keeping you kind of stuck in the current life that you have, or in the current set of obligations that are kind of hemming you in? Like how can you kind of I think, well, first it's something you've got to heal within yourself, and then once you start to kind of work on that within yourself, it's going to start to kind of bloom into your life a little bit. And so now that we've kind of gotten some information on the situation, I'm going to pull a few more cards to kind of to pull through some advice, and then I actually have some oracle cards afterward that are going to provide a bit more clarity and insight into your situation. So I'm going to pull through 3 more cards just as kind of advice, like how to move forward here. And then we're gonna get the oracle cards. So we'll start 1, 2, 3. And I'm not a very good shuffler. I'm a better reader than I am a shuffler. So I kind of tend to just fan and pull, but this deck is pre-shuffled. I've shuffled it like many times before I went ahead and pulled these cards. But at any rate, so we're gonna see what advice Spirit has for you in kind of healing this sort of past energy that's like stuck in your field, that's preventing you from moving forward. It's like preventing you both from accurately assessing your situation and from healing it. Right, so here we go. So we've got the Hermit, we've got the 9 of Wands, and then we've got Temperance. And I don't read reversals. I mean, I find that it tends to be more confusing than helpful many times, at least for me as a reader. Other people do it differently, but at any rate, so we've got the Hermit and the 9 of Wands, and then Temperance. Okay, so with the Hermit, I mean, I think the first thing, obviously, that it's kind of telling you is that you need to go within, right? You need to, we have this sort of like, I'm hearing this like sort of retreat, sort of like spa type situation going on there. I think, and like what I'm hearing also is that like you're, in this process, like you have to kind of make peace with the fact that you're going to end up disappointing some people. When you go within and take some more time with yourself, you're going to have to release some of these obligations that you've signed on to that aren't, that are just essentially busy work for you. They're not, they're not furthering your life in any substantive way, and they're just kind of getting in the way of you doing the work that you need to do in order to figure out how you can move forward with your life. And so, this Hermit card, you need to take some time to meditate. If meditation is something that you do, if you have your own tarot practice, I'm hearing that there are like, whatever is calling to you right now to research, like if there's like, whatever field or area of study this kind of Eight of Pentacles, this expression is, get that information, get more information, really kind of delve deep into how you can make your passions and your sort of inner selfhood a reality. Like, what do you need to do to ground that in the world? And this is just gonna require some evenings at home by yourself, or just really carving out that time and space to be alone and to kind of be cloistered. And if that's hard for you, that might be another roadblock or another thing you kind of need to examine, that worry about being alone with yourself. But I think that's kind of what's necessary here, is kind of a back to center, a back to home, and really working, like shadow work is, kind of what I'm hearing and thinking, really delving into what's really kind of going on here, and taking that time to find next steps, and to just, and also honestly, like it's developing some boundaries and some self-care routines, right? It's kind of like, I think part of the reason why you're so frazzled here is because like you're not potentially doing the things that help restore you, like things that are, getting out of your mind and restoring your body and your subconscious. And I think that real rejuvenation and rest would be of use to you here. I think that would help you get kind of steady to move forward. We have the Nine of Wands. And we have these clocks here, these dogs, which are like, again, friends, family, and yeah, like this person is kind of, it's like you see this trumpet and almost like announcing themselves. It's, they're saying like it's time, like it's time to just, at a certain point, like once you've done this self-reflection and you've figured out like who you really are and like where you want to go, it's time to just to do it. It's time to like step over that threshold and really be yourself in all of your fullness, and be open about that. It's like you gotta stop kind of hiding yourself and like, you just need to, I'm hearing, kind of like live in all your fullness. And with these dogs, like people in your life, they're going to be people who are loyal, who love you, who again, you'll find that they love you unconditionally, and they don't, they want you to be your truest self and succeed on your own terms. And then there might be people who kind of fall away, and that's okay. You have these dogs here, symbols of friendship and loyalty, and then you have these white horses here who are kind of like, falling by the wayside, it looks like. And with the white, I'm kind of hearing like white lies. It's like your relationship is kind of founded on these, these like white lies of these sort of superficial acquaintances, and like far from, it being a scary thing, you being your fullest self. It's like, it actually empowers you to have stronger foundations in your life, because, the people who accept you and who you're interacting with and getting like real communion with, like since they know the full you, like you know that foundation is strong, right? Like you know, it's like, yeah, once you've gone through this process of self-reflection, then it's time to kind of, you know, make that announcement. Here I am, here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm going. And just, you know, how people react is how people react. And it's really, really scary thing, but ultimately it's going to be super positive for you. And again, it's like temperance, it's like, you know, it's that healing coming full circle. And I mean, I guess, so temperance actually is a card that kind of connotes union. It's things coming into balance. It's integration. Integration is the word that I'm looking for. And you know, remember we were talking about how we have this Nine of Swords, this divided little animal here. It's like, you know, the house divided cannot stand, but temperance means that like it's coming into integration with the fullness of who you are, and integrating your shadow, like integrating those parts of you that you feel you have to hide. It's like, again, proceeding from a place of integrity. I mean, I think that's what this temperance card is coming here to say. It's like, and again, we have this champagne popping kind of, which is like a celebration. I mean, it's an achievement, right? I mean, integration is really hard and it takes a long time, and it takes years for a lot of people to kind of embrace their full selves and really like be that person in the world. I mean, gosh, it's something that I've struggled with for a really long time, and it's something that like I'm currently working on. I mean, if I'm being honest, this is like similar to my own situation now. I mean, I definitely resonate with this a lot. And I think, yeah, I mean, so don't beat yourself up at all through this process, because, you know, it's part of the work that you're here to do. It's hard for everybody. And, you know, we have ups and we have downs, but ultimately like this union of self, this sort of integration of all the disparate and, you know, kind of fragmented parts of you is what we're trying to achieve. And I think that's what Spirit wants for you. And that's what's really highlighted right now. And, you know, they're saying like the outlook is positive, like you'll get there. It's, you know, and this can be kind of this sort of transformational process can feel like a dark night of the soul at times. And maybe it is really, really hard and really scary. You know, we've got the Nine of Swords here, which shows that it's definitely causing you a lot of mental stress, but, you know, you're going to get there. All right. So with that, these aren't really in frame, but kind of put them here. We're going to bring through your oracle cards and see what else we can learn about your situation. So to start out, I'm going to bring through your archetype cards. These are Carolyn Mrs. archetype cards. I love these cards. I got them recently after seeing them in many pick a card reading videos. They're pretty awesome. We've got Exorcist and Samaritan. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. These cards always, you know, they have the light and shadow attributes, and a lot of times it's like when we see these archetypes, it's kind of we're balancing ourselves between the light and the dark in each one of these. And yeah, so Exorcist the light attribute is freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses, and the shadow attribute is fear of facing your own demons. And so I think, yeah, that's a lot of what's going on here, honestly. It's the fear of facing, you know, that demon that we talked about with the Nine of Swords card, whatever that situation was in your past. I'm thinking like probably in your childhood that, you know, taught you that it wasn't safe to be your full self. And again, with this sort of like, I'm getting this real kind of blockage energy around this Three of Pentacles. It's, you know, you've kind of blocked yourself into these situations where you don't feel like you can be your full self, and you can't play your true role because you're afraid of like facing that shadow aspect of yourself, afraid of facing that that darkness, that scary, that fear that's kept you locked into being a person that you aren't really. And I think the thing that's amazing about, again, with the Exorcist, the light attribute here, is that like once you stand in your truth and in your, you know, your truest expression, your fullest self, that energy like frees others. I mean, when people see like an authentic person who is not afraid to kind of stand up and be comfortable with the fact that they're not for everyone, and you know that they're only like certain people are going to resonate and certain people aren't, like that gives others the courage and the strength to kind of be their truest selves. And the truth is, I think it's like amazing that we have to remember is that, everyone comes to Earth with a different purpose, a different message to deliver, a different like role to play, a different person to be, and like all of our incarnations are kind of different that way. And the thing is, like, there are people who profoundly disagree with each other on planet Earth here, because like that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, we're all bringing different energies and amplifying like different aspects of experience, and it's okay if people disagree with you, or if people are going to be like triggered by your truest expression. Like that's okay, because it's supposed to be that way. There's nothing wrong with that. And when other people see you being your true self, like they're going to think, wow, like maybe I could be that too, and you're going to bring more light and more love to the world. So I think that's kind of where that is for you. And Samaritan, so the light attribute refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. And the shadow is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help that you offer. Okay. And so, again, I think that another part of the reason potentially why you've been stuck in this sort of role, or this this role that you're person or whatever, character that you're acting out that isn't really you, is because people have gotten so used to that expression of you, and like they do appreciate parts of it, and like in a certain sense, like you feel like, gosh, like if I stop being this person, or if I stop acting this way, or if I go towards what I really want to do and who I really want to be in the world, it's like I'm gonna let all these people down. I'm not gonna get this appreciation anymore. I'm not gonna get this recognition anymore for being, it's like people might think, oh, like I'm such a good Samaritan, or like I'm the good girl, or I'm the like you're this sort of helper, this like kind of saint, or you're really good at this role that you're playing that isn't really you, and people are like, they're praising you, and they've kind of built up this idea of you, and it's like you get the appreciation and the validation on a certain level from that, but like they're not like validating who you really are, which really stresses you out. And so you kind of have to realize that there's going to be a whole new group of people who are going to react to the person that you really are, and it's going to nourish and nurture and help fulfill them, and it's going to be better because it's going to be coming from like a real place, right? Whereas what you're doing now, it's like kind of it's like appreciation and recognition, but it's definitely on kind of an egoic level, because it's not coming from your soul. And so it's like, yeah, you're getting this validation right now, but it's validating your ego, but it's not validating your soul. And that's what's really important, and that's kind of where you need to be heading, right? So it's, yeah, I mean, you may be getting a lot of validation out of like the helping role. It's like, giving and giving and giving and giving to other people in a way that just, I'm sure you're a giving and caring, compassionate person, but it may not be authentic to you, or like, maybe you're in like a Samaritan or a helping type career that, it's like, you feel like you get a lot of validation and respect for it, but it's not really you. And so, you might want to also look into your potential capacity to kind of overgive. And it's like, where are you benefiting on an egoic level from the role that you're currently in, right? That's just, again, a shadow work question to kind of ask yourself, and think about how, you're going to be fulfilled on a whole different level, and from a truer place when you gain appreciation and recognition finally for being who you really are, from the people that you're really here to speak to and to help. All right, so next I've got, okay, I guess we'll keep going with, so I'm also a writer. That's part of the reason why I love tarot. I love archetypes, because I love to write. And so I have some literary witches oracle cards to kind of, literary witches cards actually feature famous female writers from history, as well as a couple different type of energies and archetypes and stuff. So we got the snail and the wildflowers. So yeah, sometimes I have to kind of glance quickly at the book here because they're not always super clear, but thankfully they're pretty simple in their meanings. So definitely, obviously the snail is, kind of, you hear slow and steady wins the race, taking your time. I'm hearing small but mighty, and then wildflowers. Yeah, renewal, romance, and awakening. So I think what they're trying to say here is that like they're saying like take it slow and be patient with yourself. And I'm hearing like kind of like romance yourself, like take yourself out on dates. Like, I'm kind of seeing this image of like someone just like, it's like calling off all the meetings for the afternoon and just like going to a museum, like rediscovering themselves and really just like getting lost in what makes you you, kind of, and just knowing that like, this is a metamorphosis process, and this rarely happens. Like this, it's very difficult to make this kind of intense, like deep and personal work, happen or come to fruition overnight. And so, like, it's gonna take some time. With the swirling shell here, like there are a lot of layers to this situation. But ultimately, like, it's gonna result in this like renewal and this like fresh energy. So yeah, I'm just hearing like be patient with yourself and like, when I say like romance yourself, like, just love yourself and have a really like kind of curious and excited and positive attitude toward yourself and who you're becoming, and don't focus as much on like what people are gonna think or how people are gonna be upset or disappointed when you decide to kind of become who you really are, or put your focus where you really want to put it. It's like, think about the possibilities, kind of, because this is like, it's like you're really scared, but this is a really exciting journey that you're on ultimately. It's ultimately like a really positive and freeing thing, and maybe in some ways you're focusing more on the negatives and the positives, and so it's like you need to have this kind of like patient and curious and an open energy about this whole thing, because it's gonna turn out all right. Like you're gonna get there. It's no caterpillars obviously don't have the consciousness that we do, but no caterpillar goes into their cocoon thinking, oh well, I'm gonna get stuck here, I'm never gonna turn into a butterfly. The butterfly always eventually emerges. So that's kind of what the process that you're in right now. And then I've got a Moonology card and a crystal healing card. So we've got, so the energy is gaining momentum, and that totally makes sense with this Knight of Wands card. You're you're really being pushed to take on, to undergo this metamorphosis and to kind of take on your truest form. It's like you have a lot of support here. That you're feeling this intense kind of like pressure because this is the direction that you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing. So make no mistake, like the sense of energy behind you and within you is pulling you to a positive place, and like you can totally just like harness it and really go with it. Allow it to pull you. Really go where you feel driven right now. Go where you feel called. Allow this sort of like sense of potential and this real sort of spiritual divine energy that wants to be expressed through you. Allow it to be expressed, because it's there for your blooming. It's there for you to find success and to find happiness. And then we have Brandenburg Amethyst, number 38, which reduces to 11, which is like, a master number, definitely a number of sort of like spiritual awakening. That's kind of what I'm getting with this. Just again, like a real kind of spiritual initiation or a big step on your spiritual journey. And I have to use the book with these cards a lot of times because I'm not totally sure what all of these crystals are associated with, but we'll take a quick peek at Brandenburg Amethyst. Okay, so yeah, the perfect blueprint. A master healer, the Brandenburg Amethyst, holds a perfect blueprint of your soul and all that is. It heals physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, karmic, planetary, and ancestral auric layers and imprints the most perfect energetic pattern possible. And again, the healing insight here, which I think is, what you really need to take from this, is that you are perfect exactly the way you are. So whoever you are, like deep in your heart, on your soul, like deep in your soul, on your soul level, like that's who you're meant to be. Like you're perfect. There's nothing that can be added or can be taken away from you. And that expression, like who you are, like in your soul, from your third eye, with your spiritual knowing, like that's who you're supposed to be. Yeah. And it says like, yeah, self-discipline and clear focus bring your dreams to fruition, aim for the highest. And I mean, I think that's, that it's just like a profound message of hope. And I think that's definitely what you need to hear right now. And yeah, just never forget that, like, whoever told you that your expression or that your authenticity wasn't okay, like they were wrong. They harmed you, but it's, it's time to kind of grow past that wound, and you can do it. So that's a really great message. And okay, so the last thing, kind of an interesting surprise I have here, are these Harry Potter, I don't know if you're into Harry Potter, these Harry Potter kind of like meditation cards, which I picked up recently out of curiosity, and they all have like, I thought they all had different themes, but no, they have like there's like a group of different themes, and the cards kind of have prompts on the back for you to reflect on, and you got for your pile experiencing loss. So if there's some kind of, so again, we're going to think about some kind of loss potentially that you've experienced in your life. Wow, oh my goodness, I love this quote, and I've seen it before, and it definitely resonates with me. But yeah, again, we have, so things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end, if not always in the way we expect. And that quote is from Luna Lovegood in the book Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Have you ever experienced the return of something you thought you lost? What were the circumstances? So what spirit is asking you to reflect on here is, somewhere along the way, when you got hurt, when you got traumatized by, when someone told you that it wasn't okay to be who you really were, you lost a part of yourself, and you became less of who you really are, and that caused a deep separation and sadness within you. This was a loss, and they're saying that this part of you that got lost, like, it can come back, and it's meant to come back. It should come back. It wants to come back, and in your heart you want it to come back too. And it may not come back in the way that it was there before. Like, it might come back in a different form, but this, your creativity, your beauty, your excitement, and your love for life, like, it's on its way back to you, and all you have to do is allow it to come in, and not be afraid of the consequences of shedding those energies or those layers that you took on that aren't really you. So yeah, again, whatever you've lost, that I think I'm hearing the phrase love for life. So whatever it was that you lost that caused you to kind of lose some of your luster and some of your love for life, like, it wants to come back now, and all you need to do is allow it in, and don't worry about what's going to happen. Just totally give yourself to that process, because you're going to be a much happier, much more vibrant, and more fulfilled person for it. Okay? All right, so that's all I have for you, pile one. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be putting out more, obviously, so go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. And I have an Etsy that I've set up. So, going forward, if you want to get a personal reading from me, you'll be able to do that through the Etsy. The link will be in the description box. And like I said, I'll link all of my decks in the description box as well. So, good luck with all this, and I will see you hopefully again shortly. Hey, pile two. All right, so I'm particularly excited for your pile, because you picked one of my new favorite decks that I just started using. So I may have to peek in the book a couple times, because this deck is so rich in symbolism. It's called Our Tarot. And, you know, every single one of the cards is related to a woman from history who, in some way, shape, or form, exemplifies that archetype. So, again, you know, if you're working on kind of developing or balancing, you know, your divine feminine energy, you know, possibly you pick this pile. If that's, you know, again, if the divine feminine is like a really important like aspect of who you are, or something that you're kind of trying to lean into, you know, again, possibly you pick this pile. And if you like history, and if you like historical women, I definitely recommend that you pick this up if you're interested in tarot, because every reading, I have to tell you, that I've done so far has been like a mini history lesson. But yeah, with that, at any rate, so here we start here. Your overall energy, which was your back of the deck energy, is the Six of Swords with Marsha P. Johnson. And I'll just kind of go ahead and let you and tell you the names of all these people. Maybe one or more of them is significant to you. So again, overall energy, Six of Swords, Marsha P. Johnson. You have the Star with Anne Frank. The Keeper of Pentacles, Sarah Breedlove, who I think started Madam C.J. Walker's cosmetics line. I think she was the first African-American, either female or just the first African-American like millionaire in the United States. Pretty interesting story. Gabriela Mistral, I don't really know who that is. And then of course the Fool with Joan of Arc. So again, one or more of them may be significant to you. But yeah, I'm really kind of getting, again, we have the Keeper of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles here. And I'm really getting like a very strong kind of like family energy from this. And here with the Six of Swords, like there's something your guides like want you to know or want to tell you about, transcending some kind of family pattern that's really like held you back. And I'm feeling a lot of sadness. And again, with the Star card, you know, being Anne Frank, like obviously this can be like a really heavy energy, because if you think about, you know, the Holocaust and the sort of like racial and ethnic component to that, I mean, again, that kind of to me underscores like the idea of like hereditary patterns and like lineage type patterns. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot of sadness, but a lot of hope. There may be something related to children, or something that happened in your childhood that perhaps like stole your innocence in some way. I mean, I'm not going to hazard a guess as to what that is, because, you know, this is a general reading. It could be any number of things for any number of people. But yeah, it's like there's some like difficult pattern or energy in your family that potentially like kind of stole your innocence as a child and has really held you back, you know, and maybe caused depression. And like I'm hearing like something about like you feel like you don't recognize yourself anymore, because, you know, this pattern has like led you to a place of just like, you know, not really following your path and not being your truest self. Like, yeah, it's really heavy energy. Like you just feel really hearing alienated, isolated, like out of touch with you. There's a lot of numbness in this energy. Like it's really tough, and I'm sorry that you're going through it. And I feel like, you know, with this Keeper of Pentacles card, like there may be a particular person in your family who's either living now or potentially someone who died. But by the way, the Keeper of Pentacles is in this deck is the King of Pentacles. Someone who kind of like enforces this pattern, or like there's someone in your family, whether that be like a matriarch or a patriarch of some sort, that everyone looks up to, and you feel like you really disappointed that person in some way, potentially, because you want to follow a path that's different. You want to be different somehow. And it's like everyone kind of looks up to this person and reveres this person for who they are, but like you're just different than who they are. And you're just different from a lot of people in your family. It's possible you feel like a black sheep, you know, and Ten of Pentacles, I mean, most of the time is a really positive card. But here, like, I'm kind of feeling that there's just this, like, really, again, it's like a solid, like, stable, solidified energy. Like, it's possible people even, like, know your family for a certain thing. Like, it's possible, like, there's even this public image around your family of being a certain way, or like maybe there's like a family business involved. Like, yeah, I'm hearing family business potentially. Like, you know, it could be that someone you really love and respect in your family wants you to go into the family business, and you're just like, that's not really me. That's not really what I want. That's not who I am. And the message that your guides really want me to give you is, like, these people aren't going to change, right? You know, they're going to be who they're going to be. And this probably is a really hard thing for you to hear, because I know that you love them, and on some level, like, you want their approval, but, like, you know, it may, like, you know, you may have to risk disappointing them. And that's what this Fool card here is trying to say. Like, the Fool with the Six of Swords, I mean, the Six of Swords is moving on. I mean, it may even be that you have to move to a different location. I mean, you may have to kind of strike out on your own. You know, move to a new city, move to a new state, or maybe even a new country. I don't know. I mean, it's just taking this leap of faith and knowing that, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you're meant to be different, because that's, your soul wants you to be different. You know, your soul wants you to follow this different path and to discover yourself. And I'm kind of hearing that, like, maybe it's like it's hard for you to get away from this family energy, because it's like you don't even totally know what it is potentially that you want to do yet, or who you want to be. Because, like, this Fool card, it's like this total blank slate, this, like, free energy, like. And I think, again, it's, like, hard to stand up to these people, because you can't say, it's like, well, I don't want to do this, but I want to do this. And it's like, maybe you don't really know what the other thing is that you want to do, but, like, you know that it's not right for you to be doing what your family wants you to be doing, or, like, you know, whatever this expectation is of you. And like, your guides are saying, like, that's right. This intuition that you have, that you're supposed to do things differently, or you're supposed to follow a different path, that is the correct intuition. And you know, you need to follow this calling. You need to follow this, you need to just kind of get out of this space, either physically or emotionally. You need to distance yourself somehow. And I know that that's really hard. I know that family energy can be very tough and very constrictive at times. I mean, family is also very nurturing and loving, of course, but, you know, I am feeling this sort of, like, tough, kind of restrictive energy here. And like, yeah, something that, and like you, and the Fool, again, what's interesting is, like, so the Star with Anne Frank being a child, and like the energy of the Fool, again, is very childlike. And it's discovering that sense of possibility again, discovering those dreams of feeling that you can be whoever you want to be. Because I feel like maybe when you were a child, like, you did have dreams of being, you know, whoever you want to be, being different, like, and, like, those sort of progressively got, like, squished somehow. I mean, you know, and yeah, just finding this sort of openness, this innocence within yourself again. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for you. And we're gonna pull through 3 more cards just as, like, general advice, like how you can kind of work with this energy. What potential action steps to take going forward. So we're going to pull 3 more cards here and see what comes out. Again, I'm a really bad shuffler. I'm a better reader than I am a shuffler, so I just kind of fan and pull. And I did shuffle these cards beforehand. These are very well shuffled before I pulled all of these cards. We're going to pull 3 more cards for you. All right. So what do we have? We've got the Knight of Swords with Wallace Simpson, the Page of Pentacles with Mary Lou Williams. Oh, sorry, gotta get these in frame. And we've got Death with Frida Kahlo. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's like, I'm getting kind of this energy that, like you're probably gonna face some resistance here, right? So Wallace Simpson, the Knight of Swords, I mean, the Knight of Swords, honestly, for me, I feel like is one of the most difficult cards to interpret in the tarot. I mean, because it can be positive, it can be negative. I did happen to read the entry for this Knight of Swords, Wallace Simpson, and if you don't know who she is, she's a very interesting character. I suggest that you look her up. But yeah, I mean, so Wallace Simpson, she's the woman that, and I forget was it King Edward? But anyway, she was the woman that's in like I guess it was like the 1920s, that the new king of the United Kingdom of the British Empire decided to abdicate his throne rather than spend his life without her, because she was divorced and he was wasn't able to marry her by the sort of the laws and the code of the British monarchs, and he literally gave up his throne to live with her rather than to spend his life doing his duty without her. So, and she's known as she was definitely a huge social climber. I mean, she was it's like she was kind of ruthless almost in her pursuit of him, in a way. Like she had this idea of this life that she wanted for herself. And yeah, it's a really interesting story. But at the end of the day, like, this card in this deck talks about kind of this calculating ruthlessness in a sense. And then we've got this Page of Pentacles here, Mary Lou Williams. I don't really know who she is. Obviously some kind of entertainer. It looks like she plays the piano. And then obviously we have Death with Frida Kahlo. And so honestly, and this might be a difficult message to hear, but I'm getting the sense that, like, there's someone, maybe this person is different than the King of Pentacles here. Like, there's someone else in the family potentially who really looks up to this King of Pentacles, who who sees you in a certain way, who sees you as this Page of Pentacles, who kind of sees your potential and, like, really sees how gifted and how special you are. And it has this idea of wanting to sort of, I don't want to say press gang is the wrong word, like, wants to, like, kind of press you into service, press those gifts into service on behalf of whatever this sort of family business or, like, family agenda is. It's like they have a real interest in seeing you take on this, like, family related role. And again, this is a general reading, so I don't know how this is going to resonate. It's kind of a specific message, but, like, there's someone in your family or people in your family who do respect you and see how gifted you are, but, like, they have, like, a certain pathway in mind for you with this Page of Pentacles. It's like, oh, this person, here's someone with all this potential, but it's, like, potential that, like, I see unfolding in a certain way. And, like, Death, it's like, there's just going to have to be a transformation in their perception of you and in how they see you. I mean, this may cause a bit of difficulty in your family for a little bit when you stand up and when you say, hey, this isn't who I am and I want to make this different choice. But the thing with the Death card is that it creates opportunity for renewal, and it creates, like, an opportunity for, like, a different energy to take hold, Like, I feel like kind of you standing your ground and, like, being a different person in your family, being authentic in your own way, like, that's actually going to create a really positive shift in your family. Because there's too much, like, I don't know, there's too much, like, rigidity or stiffness or constriction in, like, your family energy and the way they see themselves and, like, who they are in the world. And, like, they on a sort of spiritual level, like, they need you to be different. Like, your difference is needed. And I'm really kind of called to kind of actually read the Death card out of the book, or to kind of look into this Frida Kahlo. And, hopefully, potentially, who Frida Kahlo is. She's very famous. I think she's a Mexican artist who, again, very famous for dealing with the divine feminine, a real sort of, like, Scorpio kind of energy. I mean, just very, very spiritual, very transformational, colorful, interesting. Yeah, just, like, a real character. I mean, she was, like, really much her own person, and I think that that's significant for you at this time. So I'm just gonna kind of look into that. And this book, by the way, is amazing. Oh my god, like, for this deck, I mean, just long descriptions of every single one of the women in the deck. it's a great book, but at any rate, let's look at death here. Okay, so yeah, mortality, grief, loss, transition, and impermanence, as well as regeneration, new beginnings, and acceptance. And I think like there are really interesting questions at the end of every one of these descriptions. It's just like when the death card appears, it's time to accept completion of a situation or time in your life. The card asks, what aspects, problems, and situations in your life do you need to let come to an end? How can you transition and transform, and how can you create a new beginning? And I think like the operative phrase here, of course, is new beginning. And like it's a new beginning for you, but it's also a new beginning for a chapter in the life of your family. And like you're really instrumental here. And as difficult as it may be for you, like this is needed, is what your guides want you to know. Like this is really needed. Whatever you're doing, like even if you don't even know what it is yet, with the Fool, as I said, maybe you do know what it is, but again, the Fool is kind of an energy of openness, of not really quite knowing yet. But you striking out in a different direction is, it's overdue. Like it's time for there to be some new possibilities for people in your family, and this will have an effect on future generations in your lineage. And it's exciting, it's good. So even though it might feel difficult and challenging in the moment, and even involve maybe some grief and loss, like it's important, and your guides and your spiritual team are really proud of you for acting on this impulse. All right, so we're now gonna bring through some more oracle cards to get some more information and advice for your situation. And I think I started with the archetype cards. So we're gonna look at the archetype cards first to see kind of what archetypes you're potentially working with right now in both their light and shadow aspects. And you have teacher and guide. Wow, very cool. So teacher, with a light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom, and the shadow attribute, manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Yeah, so I'm kind of called to this, idea of manipulation, abuse, negative traits, destructive skills. Again, with like what I explained before, the Anne Frank star card, kind of this idea that you may have learned some kind of like negative coping mechanisms from your family, or like just this idea that I'm hearing the word top down, just like the way that things are done in your family, like it's just very top down. It's kind of like maybe authoritarian and kind of dictatorial, the way that, like, I'm hearing also the phrase children should be seen and not heard. Like it was, authority was a big deal in your family and still is. I mean, that's why we have this sort of keeper of this King of Pentacles card. Maybe there's a strong element of matriarchy or patriarchy in your family. And like you're moving in, like the part of this transition for you is your ability to kind of move into an energy where you're teaching people, and later on in your life being in a position of authority where you're kind of more diplomatic and more open about the way that you teach people or impart wisdom, right? So it's like obviously there's a big element in your family of imparting wisdom, of wanting the next generation to kind of follow in the footsteps of the previous one, but it's like in a really restrictive and kind of like not kind of icky way at times. And like I think moving forward, I don't even know if this is an energy you're in now, but like they're saying like this is something they want you to learn, or that you're here to learn, is how to impart wisdom and how to like kind of interface with younger generations without stifling them. Like you're here to impart your wisdom, but to help to do so in such a way that it helps people grow and helps them become who they really are. And like that's part of your, I think that's like part of your purpose this lifetime, is what I'm hearing. Even if you're not in this energy now, it's like this, they're saying like this Fool thing, this Fool card, this is why you're being encouraged to move away. Again, move away, either literally, physically, or, emotionally, mentally from this energy, is because like you're going to become a more positive and healthy teacher, and maybe you want to be a teacher. Maybe that's something that you're literally going to do. But anyway, that's what I'm getting from this card. So with guide, light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself, and shadow places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. Goodness gracious. Hopefully it's like almost immediately obvious to you, like what we're working with here. Again, people in your family placing financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. So, if this is like a family business situation, or just some other situation where like, finances, property, stability is like a big part of like your family's kind of preoccupation. Yeah, it's like they're placing a lot of value on that and not so much value on spirituality, or, the self, or, like the divine, whatever divine purpose. And yeah, it's like you're being encouraged to kind of to move past that kind of egoic construct and tap into, again, the divine, whatever is divine in you. So, that's little small voice that's saying like, be different, move on, be your own person. Like that's the nature of the divine in you that's trying to get out. And, I'm hearing it's even possible that people in your family had this voice. Like maybe, a cousin or an aunt or an uncle or whoever, like maybe they had a little voice in themselves that wanted them to be different when they were younger and they didn't listen to it. Maybe they squished it and they've so crushed that voice that they, they're no longer even able to hear its call. And like your guides are wanting you to act on that voice and to listen to it, before it gets like kind of like crushed by the more egoic, like material stuff. Yeah, and it's like that ability to express who you are and your authenticity by listening to your divine, whatever your divine spark is, listening, you have the owl here, think about the third eye. I'm sure, part of your path this lifetime has probably been to develop your third eye and just kind of have a greater, stronger sense of what is divine in you and what your calling and purpose is. And so, you have the lantern here. You see the lantern on the Hermit card in the tarot, and that's kind of a symbol of guidance, of inner guidance, of allowing your inner light to shine. And that's what you're being encouraged to do. Whatever guidance you're getting right now, you can listen to it. And that's what you're being encouraged to do. So those are two really interesting archetypes. Now we're going to move on to these actually are literary witches cards. I'm a writer. I love to write. And so naturally I found this deck really interesting. It features some like weird objects, but also like women writers throughout history. And they're just kind of interesting cards. So we're going to see what they have to say. We've got Braid and we've got Endurance, Ana Akhmatova. So sometimes I have to look in the book for these because they're not always immediately clear what they're signifying. I'm going to check on Braid. Usually they're pretty simple. Yeah, okay. Identity, survival, the opinions of others. Shocker. So with this Braid card, I mean, Braid, it's people who are tied together, right? Tied, like these are like, a family, right? You think of a family, people who are knitted together, close knit, but like it's this energy like is really not, as we've said over and over, it's not helpful for you. And so you need to be secure in the fact that like you need to discover your own identity apart from these people, and not worry about their opinions. It's pretty straightforward. And then Endurance, Ana Akhmatova. So yeah, basically, I think, we just talked about that shakeup that may potentially occur when you decide to kind of go your own way. And that's saying that like, yeah, it's probably going to be tough. And it looks like almost like we have like a phoenix type of bird here, which is the bird that rises from the ashes, and again, the phoenix is about rebirth, which is more of that Scorpio energy. So, this, this may be tough, like when you decide to kind of strike out on your own, like it may be a really tough time in your life. I'm not going to lie to you, because with the Fool is about a leap of faith, and it's about, in the traditional tarot, you see a figure literally about to step off a cliff, and you don't know what support is there available for you when you decide to make this leap, to really be yourself. And it's this really scary thing. Like I said, I always want to give encouraging, like loving messages, but I'm also not going to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always going to like just be honest about what you're going to face, and scary, challenging things in life are at times like we have to kind of grow through them. And that's what this endurance card is telling you to do. It's saying that like you have the strength to do this, like, and that in some way, shape, or form, because your guides want you to do this, because this is divinely guided for you, like there's going to be support, right? Like you're going to find support. Like when you move to that new city, it might take a little bit of time, but you're going to find new friends. You're going to find a new group. I'm hearing the words chosen family. And sometimes, our birth family, like they're here to teach us really important lessons. And I think we choose them at a soul level. We choose them and they choose us. But there's also this concept of chosen family, and if there are people in your life like that are family members, blood family members, that really aren't supporting you, or aren't going to show up for the person that you really are, like, it takes time, and it can be really challenging, but like, it's okay to find, a quote unquote chosen family of people who are going to kind of see you in all of your brilliance and your uniqueness, and like love you for who you really are. So, again, this can be challenging. Your guides want to acknowledge that, but they want to tell you also that like you have the strength to get through it, and that there's a really positive, happy new beginning waiting on the other side of this leap that you have to take. So that's really important, and that's I'm hoping that you'll be able to kind of take that to heart and find some encouragement in that message. All right, so now we're going to move on to, I've got a Moonology card for you, and I've got a crystal healing card for you. So I guess I'll just start with the Moonology. Oh, we'll see. Okay. Oh my God. I didn't look at these cards beforehand. I love like pulling them out and being surprised. And yeah, I mean, do I really have to say anything else here? Don't let your past hold you back. Yeah, don't let this lineage, this family energy, like don't let it prevent you from being who you are. And I mean, honestly, one thing that I love to encourage people to do is if you're at all interested in astrology, definitely look into your North Node and your South Node. So South Node, again, like the North and South Node, the South Node is the energy that you've brought into this lifetime that you're comfortable with, but that you can also get stuck in. And the North Node energy is, and again, these will be in different like astrological houses. So like for instance, my North Node is in Capricorn, my South Node is in Cancer. Your North Node is the energy that you're here to grow into. And it's funny because a lot of times your North Node sign, it's energy that you can barely even recognize in yourself, especially when you're younger. But the more you get older, the more like you'll be, the circumstances of your life will continue to push you toward it and push you toward it. And, I would definitely recommend you to look into your North and South Node signs and kind of get a sense of, what maybe your life purpose may be along those lines, and what energy you need to be studying and kind of trying to cultivate in yourself. But, at any rate, this card is just saying don't let people's past conceptions of you or like what they want you to be, don't let that hold you back. Take that leap. You can do it. Don't get stuck in this like really heavy, like crushing energy. It's like this, it's like this, it's like a black cloud, or it almost looks like black mold or something. Like don't get stuck there. And then, okay, so here we've got the Herkimer Diamond. Again, I'm going to use the book for this because I don't know the meanings of all of these crystals, but again, it's number 46. Maybe that's significant to you. 6 plus 4 is 10, which is a 1, which, again, translates to initiative and new beginnings. which I think is really relevant here. So let's look into Herkimer Diamond and see what that has to tell us. It's 46. Sorry. Okay. Instant energy. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Powerful energy generators that access and release past life information. Herkimer diamonds make excellent shields against geopathic stress and EMFs. This crystal works beyond the physical levels of being to bring harmony to the energy bodies and the soul. So again, first thing I'm seeing here is past life information. So this is your past. I mean, maybe this energy, like, again, I've been kind of relating this to a current family, but it could even be like really heavy past life energy. And probably a lot of the reason why you're having issues with your family in this lifetime is because there's some kind of past life pattern that you're here to help transcend, or that like your family is collectively working on transcending. Again, like real past energy. And again, it's just, yeah, there's something about, psychically sensitive and need to clear a blocked third eye. It could be that these troubling patterns or, traumas, I talked about your childhood. I mean, it could be that it's blocking you from really accessing your guidance. That could be part of the issue. Timing is spring and soul path is seeing the light. So I mean, right now it's spring in the Northern Hemisphere where I am. And again, in the sense that, like, it's time for you to kind of see the light about the situation, right? Like, see the light that where you are right now is never going to get you where you want to be. Like and it's like part of it's like admitting to yourself, like where you really want to be. And just, again, I'm just kind of seeing the light about this situation. There's something about being addicted to your tablet or mobile phone. So if that resonates with you, that might be an issue. Like, if watching your screen time, potentially kind of getting out into nature to just kind of vibe with the natural world. That could be something that you need to do. But again, right now it's spring and soul path, it says seeing the light. So you're seeing the light and you're moving ahead and you're doing it soon. So that's good. Very good energy. All right, and so the last thing I have for you, I've got these two cards that I pulled from the Harry Potter Meditations deck that I just got. It's kind of like a fun thing, but actually pile ones was super relevant, so I'm excited to see what happens here. I don't know if you know anything about Harry Potter, but even if you don't, it's still going to be, tied in some way. You actually got two cards. Two wanted to come out. Usually I was just going to pull one, but two wanted to come out. So I'll start here with experiencing loss, which is like the theme of the card. And there's a meditation on the back related to that theme. So we'll see what it says. It says, at the end of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore comforts Harry in his office after Sirius's death, trying to help him understand that it was not Harry's fault that his godfather died. After Dumbledore's death and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Ron and Hermione visit the Astronomy Tower with Harry, quietly offering their support and companionship for their grieving friend. How do you provide comfort and support to someone who is dealing with grief and loss? And so, I mean, honestly, what I think this card is saying is that, like, with the death card that we saw earlier, when you move on from, if you have to, like, literally in some cases, if you're like moving away from your family or just putting up boundaries and saying, like, no, this is not who I'm going to be. I'm not going to allow you to enforce this conception of me on me that isn't really who I am. Like, again, it might cause like schism in your family. It may, like, there's a death of like a previous version of yourself. I don't think, again, this death, there's a loss of like a previous version of yourself or who people thought you were, or like this time in this period in your life that you need to move, you're outgrowing it, you need to move past it, but it's gonna cause a sense of grief and loss in some way, shape, or form. And like, I think what they're saying, this person who's dealing with grief and loss, like maybe you, and you need to be really gentle with yourself and find ways to comfort and support yourself through this time. And that means, being really intentional about your self-care, or, if you already have friends who love and accept you for who you are and support your dreams and goals, like reaching out and being in contact with them, just like doing really like, engaging in nourishing and supportive activities for you, whether that's, making sure that you exercise. Like I said, getting out in nature may be an important thing. Eating healthy, like just engaging in your favorite activities. Like it can, even if like you're watching your favorite TV show, just doing things that like just give you a sense of joy. Just really like being gentle with yourself, I think, through this process is something that I'm hearing. Because like, again, it's a period of grief and loss. Like it's something you have to move past. This is really challenging energy, and like, it's something you have to do, but it's like it's transitory. Like you're gonna move out of this period, but you just need to be gentle with yourself as you go through this. And yeah, it's gonna be okay. Like just love yourself. Seriously, like love yourself. Understand that what you're going through is challenging, and you deserve love, support, and care. All right, so now we've got identity, which I'm not surprised that this theme came out for you, and we'll see what it says. It says that it is said that what least attracts us says as much about our identities as what most attracts us. Students at Hogwarts identify strongly with their particular house, but they also often have a house that they strongly don't identify with. For example, students in Slytherin and Gryffindor are known to be rivals. Which Hogwarts house do you feel the least affinity with? What do you think that says about you? And if you know anything about Harry Potter, like maybe you do have a Hogwarts house that you least identify with, but I think what this is coming out to say is like, what about your family or this structure that's stifling you do you not identify with? Like, what about it is clashing with who you are? What is rubbing you the wrong way? Like, and what does that tell you about what you need to be going towards, right? So it's like, what is it that you want to move away from, and what do you want to go towards? And I think that really speaks to, again, we had this don't let your past hold you back, which is the South Node, South Node is all about the energy that you've mastered and you're very familiar with, but that you need to kind of ultimately start to move away from a little bit. So yeah, it's like, what about this family situation do you not like, and what steps can you take in your life to create a different situation for yourself and to embrace different energies, different ideas, maybe different values? Who knows? Whatever it is, like, what doesn't serve you teach about what does serve you? And I think that that's a really appropriate message here, and I'm going to leave you with that, pile 2. All right, so again, this is my first pick a card. I'm going to hopefully be posting some more in the coming days and weeks. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe, give me a like, and I do have an Etsy set up for personal readings that I've had for a while. I haven't really promoted, but I will link that in the description box if for some reason you feel called and you want to seek a personal reading from me. I'm available for that as well. I hope to see you again soon on another video, and I really hope this provided guidance and loving support for you, and good luck with focusing on and moving through this energy. Thanks. Hey pile 3, so you actually chose the Spirit Song Tarot. I love this deck. It's an animal deck. Maybe you really resonate with animal guides, or you love animals. But yeah, each card kind of resonates with the energy of a different like animal guide, and it's kind of interesting because they're almost like they have keywords. They can be sort of like oracle cards too, in a sense. But actually, I got I got a pretty immediate, and actually this is a pretty specific message for this pile. So I mean, if it doesn't resonate, maybe this isn't your pile. If it does, awesome. But again, so your bottom of the deck energy was the 10 of Acorns, which is the 10 of Wands, with keywords being responsibility and dedication. And we've then got the Ace of Shells, otherwise known as the Ace of Cups, the 5 of Shells or 5 of Cups, the Shaman, which is the Hierophant card in this deck, and the 2 of Feathers, which is the 2 of Swords. And so, like, I'm hearing that, like, recently, like, there was some kind of project, whether it was in your work life or in your personal life, that you put a lot of work into for a long time, And it kind of almost like became like part of your identity. Like it just was like, and I'm hearing like with this Ace of Shells card, it's kind of like when you started out, like it was like it gave you a lot of fulfillment and like kind of excitement, and it just like it really felt like the right thing to be doing at the time. And like, yeah, you were really engaged in it. You put a ton of work into it. It was something that consumed a lot of your time and energy for a long time. And again, I don't really know what this thing is. I'm not really being given the specifics on it, because I'm hearing that it's going to be different things for different people. But then we've got the Five of Shells here, the Five of Cups, which is kind of hope and readjustment. And like somehow I'm getting that somehow, some way, this project fell away, or it ended, or whatever it was didn't work out for you, or it got like reassigned, or like it somehow like ended, like maybe even like imploded is the word I'm hearing. Like that, like it just did not work out. I'm hearing like, I'm seeing like the kind of idea of like a business failing, almost like, yeah, it's like maybe some of you have been self-employed, or you had like a sort of entrepreneurial business project that you were working on for a long time, and for whatever reason it just like it didn't work. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it was even like a marriage that didn't work, or a relationship that didn't work. And despite your best efforts and your best intentions, it's like you put everything into this project or relationship or whatever. Like you gave it your absolute best effort, and and I'm here like through it feels almost like no, well, I don't want to say no fault of your, it just like it was like almost like a surprise. Like you did everything you possibly could, and it still wasn't good enough. Yeah, I'm hearing the words like still wasn't good enough. And it's like you may be really beating yourself up for that. It's like I couldn't make it happen, I couldn't make it work. And you're kind of stuck in this energy of like sadness and loss and grief. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But what your guides want you to know is, the Shaman card is coming in, and I'm hearing like divine redirection. And that really makes sense with this Two of Feathers card, because again, Two of Feathers is the card of decisions and direction. And the reason why this thing, whatever it was, didn't work out is because like you're meant to go in a different direction. This is an important turning point for you. And it's like I'm hearing that if you would continue down that path, whether it was a business, whether it was a relationship, putting all your eggs in that basket and like assuming all this responsibility and dedication and like real, just total commitment to whatever that thing was, it's like you wouldn't have ended up fulfilling the same potential that you will now that you're able to choose a different path. It's ultimately that thing wouldn't have served you as well as this new path will. And it's like the shaman is almost like kind of like, it's like a higher guide coming in to say like, it's okay and it's not your fault and it was meant to end. Like whatever happened, whatever the particulars of the situation were, like it happened that way because it was meant to end, and it's not your fault. And trying to find fault with yourself or somebody else, it doesn't matter. Like none of that, it's all sort of immaterial, because at the end of the day, it's divine redirection. It's like, it's destiny, it's divine purpose. You don't need to worry about any of it. What you need to worry about is deciding where you're going to go next. And this is like a really unique opportunity for you. And yeah, I'm just hearing, yeah, this divine redirection is a really good thing. Like this is ultimately going to take you to a much more, to like a better place. And like I'm hearing it's like you haven't scratched the surface yet of the amount of fulfillment that you're able to obtain in whatever it was that you were doing, whether it be a relationship or a business situation. Yeah, it's like you haven't scratched the surface. Like there's something else out there that's even better for you. And it's like you are sort of in this crisis of limited vision. Like it's like the goals that you had set for yourself originally aren't really appropriate to the level of like power and mastery that you're going to grow into. It's like whatever it was, that if you had kept dedicating yourself to that thing, like it would have kept you small. And and you're not meant to be small. Like you're meant to shoot for bigger goals, like, you know, wider horizons. And yeah, I don't have like a whole lot of information on it, because like, again, I feel like this one's like, in a sense, it's specific, but it's almost more vague, because I feel like the situation is going to be different for different people. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting with these cards. And I'm gonna next bring through some advice, and maybe we'll get some more information on what the new direction is, or how to go about seeking the new direction. So yeah, let's bring through some advice on like kind of what to do next, or where to go from here. And again, like, I'm not really good at shuffling, so I've definitely shuffled these cards like really like many times before we came on camera here, but I'm just gonna sort of fan and select based on where I'm guided. And let's see what we've got here for you. So we've got the 5 of Acorns, Challenge and Growth, the 5 of Wands, the 2 of Shells, Union and Harmony, that's 2 of Cups, and the 4 of Crystals, Control and Security. I just heard the phrase like swim towards, like I'm kind of drawn towards drawn to the image of this I guess it's I think this is a beaver, actually, because beavers create dams, which is why it's the 4 of Crystals, you know, the sort of security card. It's like swimming, you're supposed to swim towards something. It's like, yeah, it's like they're saying swim towards harmony, actually. Yeah, because harmony in this card. Like, I feel like whatever you were doing before, and again, this is kind of underscores by the 10 of Acorns. It's like you were putting in a lot of work. Like it was really, really hard. And they're saying like, yeah, it was valuable, and like it started out great. Like it started out awesome and it felt right, but like ultimately it's like you were, and again, with this beaver swimming, it's like swimming upstream is what I'm hearing. And again, this 5 of Acorn, the 5 of Wands card, it's like they're saying like it doesn't have to be this hard, whatever it is, you know, whether it be in a relationship or a work business situation. It's like, you know, life can be easier is what they're saying. And the reason why you encountered so much resistance was because that thing wasn't ultimately meant for you. And so it's like they want you to swim towards harmony. Like it's like, I'm getting that like you have this idea that if whatever you're doing isn't like a lot of work and struggle, then like it's not, you know, it's not worthy of like, I'm hearing like approbation, or it's not worthy of like recognition or respect. And they're saying like it doesn't have to be that way. And so it's like they're saying like whatever situation you go into next, like they're saying it's gonna feel really easy, and that will throw you off guard, because you're like, well this should be harder, because you're so used to putting in so much work and putting in so much effort, and you think that like, you know, putting in all that effort and all that responsibility and commitment means like you're doing the right thing. But they're saying like life can be easier for you, you know, like you can have a relationship that's easier, you can have a job or a business that's easier, that just goes off smoothly. And like, you know, it's and I think part of like with this thing, whatever this sort of like 10 of Swords, or sorry, no, 10 of Acorns, 10 of Wands, oh my goodness, whatever it is, this 10 of Wands, whatever this was, like, you know, the struggle bus kind of became part of your identity, right? Like the fact that you were like putting so much of yourself into it, and you felt so responsible, and like, you know, and I think that became part of your identity. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be responsible. Of course, it's a great thing to be responsible and have accountability. But like, you know, it was like putting too much responsibility and difficulty on yourself in a way that's like, you know, not ultimately serving you. And they're saying like whatever situation is coming into your life, well, first of all, they're saying that you should go towards something that feels easier, whatever it is. And they're saying the situation that they're bringing into your life, because again, I think this is, you know, this is divinely guided. Whatever situation that you're being guided towards or being led to, it's going to feel easier and it's going to throw you off guard because you're used to having to work way too hard and struggle against the current. And they're saying, like, don't allow that to freak you out, you know, when it is easier, when it does feel better. Don't feel like, you know, you're not doing enough or this isn't the right thing because it's too easy. Like, they're saying, like, your conception of what's easy and hard has been distorted by the fact that the last thing was so hard. Yeah, they're saying just like seek greater ease, seek greater harmony in your life and in your world is kind of what I'm hearing. Yeah, it doesn't need to be such a struggle. Hopefully that's like a relief of a message to hear, but like, yeah, it doesn't need to be such a struggle, and it's not going to be such a struggle. Yeah, and this like control and security, it's like, I feel like in the previous situation you had to fight a lot to stay in control. And like you felt, even if like on a subconscious level, it's like you felt like you had to stay in control of the situation constantly. And that's part of the reason why you had to work so hard. Like, you're not going to have to do that going forward. And that's definitely, that's a positive thing. And like, you can like let go, a little bit, you know, you'll be able to let go a little bit, and things will kind of, you know, it's like you won't have to be, so it's like you'll be able to, I'm hearing the word delegate. So if this was a work situation, you'll be able to delegate more, and you won't have this feeling of like, I have to do everything myself. So yeah, that's definitely positive. So we're gonna put these here, and I'm actually gonna bring through some oracle cards now for you to learn more about these energies and kind of more about what you need to focus on and how you can work with them. So first, I've got these archetype cards. Yeah, this is Carolyn Miss, that's how you pronounce it. Carolyn Miss's archetype deck. Yeah, I love this deck. I just got it recently, but I've seen it many times in other readings. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look. So we've got Seeker, and we've got Warrior. Yeah, interesting. Okay, and what's kind of cool is like, I feel like with these cards, it's like we're always kind of trying to find the balance between the light and dark attributes, and like, a lot of times the shadow attributes are where we're doing shadow work currently, right? So we've got light attribute, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are, and the shadow attribute is the inability to commit to a path once found. Yeah, I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm getting the sense that like maybe you knew somebody, or like there's this awareness of this energy in your consciousness of like kind of the idea of the, I think you pronounce it like dilettante. It's like you're kind of like the sunk cost thing, right? Where it's like you're afraid of, it's like you've sunk so much energy into this thing that we were talking about. Or maybe in your past, it's like you were kind of moving around, kind of like vagabond, sort of like a vagabond energy situation, and doing lots of different things. And there was somebody in your life said, well, you know, it's time for you to settle down. Like, it's time for you to commit to something. Like, it's time for you to commit. Like, you've got to stop, you know, like messing around with all this different stuff. And, you know, you're not building, again, we were talking about stability and security. You're not building security for yourself, whether that's in a business situation or in a relationship situation. Like, there, you know, maybe someone important in your life was like, hey, like, you've got to commit to something, and you've got to have, you know, some sort of stick to itness, however you say that. Sorry if I'm not making sense, but, and so now the thing is, you realize, I think maybe like on a almost subconscious level, you realize whatever this is, like, wasn't working for you. Like, you kind of maybe knew it in the back of your mind, but yet you were going to keep working and keep doing it and keep working on it because, you know, you felt you didn't want to be seen as like flaky, and like you didn't want to be seen as uncommitted anymore. You wanted to transcend that energy, and you didn't want to be that person. Whether you were, you know, quote unquote flaky in the past, or whether you knew someone who was and you wanted to be different. But like they're saying, like with a seeker energy, it's like, again, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. It's like, you know, when it's time to move on, it's okay to move on. You know, it's okay to seek that newer horizon. It's okay to go where you're called, even if other people say, oh, well, you know, he or she is being flaky, you know, he or she can't commit. Like, you know, it's like you've gotta be unafraid to kind of move toward what's right for you and what you know is right for you. And like, you don't need anyone else's approval to do that. You don't need to, you know, you can't be worried about disappointing anyone else or what anyone else is going to think. Like, you've got to do what's right for you. And I think that's what this card is really saying. You know, it's like when something, it's like kind of that 8 of Cups energy. You know, when something isn't right, you move on, and it's okay to do that. You know, you're supported in doing that. And so I think, you know, you've got to rewrite the story. You can't look at it as like, well, you know, I couldn't commit to that, or, you know, if I'm like searching around again, people are going to see me as uncommitted. Well, that's not true, because once you find the right thing, you'll commit to it for as long as is appropriate. Clearly you can commit to something. It's just making sure that thing is aligned. And so you've got to find the aligned thing. And maybe part of the reason why this thing fell through is because, you know, it felt good at first, like it felt kind of good, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe your intuition wasn't as developed as much as it is now, and you know, it really wasn't aligned and you thought it was. And you know, it's just it's okay to find the alignment now. Like, you're supported in that. It's okay. And then with this Warrior, all right, so strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice, and conquering the ego. And the shadow attributes are trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. I'm not really getting as much of the shadow attributes here. I think maybe a little. I mean, I think it's mostly like coming through to say that, like, yeah, you're really tough. Like, you've got so much strength, so much skill, discipline. Like far from being uncommitted, you actually have like a superior capacity for commitment. Like, it's all there, and it's like it just needs to be employed in the right direction. Like, you've got that discipline and that toughness of will. Like, you've proven that. You don't need to, there's nothing left for you to really prove in that department. It's just finding your right direction, you know. And you may be someone that, like, maybe you have a little bit of like a tendency toward workaholism, and maybe like going within and reflecting is difficult for you because you're always on the go. Like, I'm hearing type A personality, and like, it's just go, and you know, taking as much action as you possibly can. But like, you know, yeah, I'm just hearing like you have nothing left to prove there. Like, and once you find your new thing, like your right direction, like, you know, your discipline and skill and toughness, like, they're gonna still be there, and you'll be able to kind of use them to get where you need to be. And the thing is, like, the one thing with the shadow attribute, I'm hearing victory at any cost, or I'm being drawn to victory at any cost, and kind of the idea that, like, you know, with the thing that you were doing before, it's like you maybe on a certain level you knew that it wasn't really right for you, but you know, like, you were gonna pursue it because like you just you felt like you had to see it through. You had to honor the commitment, you know. And it's like, sometimes if the commitment isn't aligned or isn't right or isn't really what our soul wants us to be doing, like, it's okay to move on. It's okay to say, hey, this isn't right for me, you know, I'm gonna move on, you know, whether that's work or whether that's a relationship. And it's really tough. It's like staying in a bad situation, you know, it's not, you know, I've struggled with that before. I think probably a lot of people have. And, you know, there's definitely, I was sort of exposed to that energy as a child, and like with my family, that, you know, you always take accountability and you take responsibility, and, you know, being reliable and disciplined are super important. But, you know, at times, like, it's not that you're not reliable and disciplined when you move on. It's that, like, you know, you've got to be in alignment, and maybe, you know, this thing, whatever it was that fell through or didn't work out, just wasn't in alignment. So those are your 2 archetype cards. Next, what we're going to go to are, I have these cards called the Literary Witches Oracle, and it's an oracle deck. And again, I'm a writer. I love to write, and so it really called to me. It features it has like some sort of magical objects, but also female writers from history, which is like kind of fun and exciting and brings some interesting messages. So we're going to see what we have for you here. We've got apple and we've got cauldron. So you got 2 objects, and I don't have like all of the objects memorized, so I'm just going to take a quick peek into the book. Yeah, apple, the senses, hunger, and sex. And then the cauldron is creativity, the rich broth, and surprising yourself. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm just getting, there's like this, like you have like some kind of hunger or some kind of creative drive in you that it's like maybe you're not like really admitting to yourself. And that's part of the reason why this thing, whatever it was, didn't work out, because you've got some kind of passion, something in you that you're meant to do. You probably know about it. I guess it's like you probably know about it. It's something you've been connected with, like maybe in fleeting moments before, but like whatever that situation was that fell through, like it's not feeding that part of you, right? Like you're not able to express or really create in the way that you need to be expressing and creating, whether that's, you know, in a relationship, like you know, maybe you were in a relationship that just was kind of devoid of passion. Like it just seemed great at first, but it became like kind of sterile is the word I'm hearing. You know, it just wasn't really lighting you up anymore. Felt kind of obligated to be in it. Like it just, yeah, it's like the relationship just lost passion and steam, if this is a relationship. And if it's a job, it's not nourishing or connecting with your creative side. Yeah, that idea of like surprising yourself is something I'm really feeling with this. It's like and like once you do connect with this energy, which is like part of what this you know, this new path is leading you to, once you do connect with this energy, you're going to surprise yourself as to like what you're capable of and who you really are. And yeah, it's like there's some energy, some part of you that just hasn't been expressed. And I think I'm hearing dimly aware. It's like you're dimly aware of it, but you haven't really honored it yet. And that's why it feels so like challenging that this thing fell apart, because like you don't really ultimately know why. Because you feel like, yeah, I'm hearing doing all the right things. Like you feel like you're doing all the right things and it still isn't working. And it's because like, yeah, there's something either in you that like you either haven't discovered, or it's like you kind of know about it, but like you don't, yeah, like you haven't really explored it. And they're saying like whatever like creative or passionate drive in you, like there's so much passion and creativity in you that like you haven't really acknowledged or haven't expressed. And that's what this new direction is leading you towards. So yeah, it's an interesting message. Interesting message. All right, and so now we are going to, I've got a Moonology card and a crystal, I think it's like a crystal healing deck. I'll link all my decks in the description box so you can see what they are. I can't remember the exact name, but at any rate. So with your Moonology, we've got your hard work is paying off, new moon in Capricorn, and Smoky Quartz Celestial. Okay, so we'll just start with this. So your hard work is paying off. Yeah, the fact that this is a new moon, it's like, again, you've just been working too hard. Like it's, whatever this was, it was just too hard. And like the new moon, it's like you need to put your energy in a new direction. And I know it says like your hard work is paying off, but it's just, yeah, it's like this, like you're too, like you're kind of entrenched or just like blocked off in this like Capricorn energy. Like there's just too much Capricorn going on in your life right now. I mean, if you know what Capricorn is, the house of duty, responsibility, tradition, hard work. Yeah. And it's just like maybe like a new way to work. It's just like there's been too much struggle in the past, and like you're coming into a new beginning with this. Yeah, like it's you're gonna find that you're gonna be able to like find more fulfillment in your life with less struggle and less of a sense of like kind of the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like they're saying like you don't have to have this constant sense of the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like you can have more passion, more excitement, more like imagination in your life. And this is a new beginning for discovering that, whether it's in a relationship or in a work situation. So that's pretty cool. We've got, again, Smoky Quartz Celestial. I have to use the book for these because I don't know what all of these necessarily correlate with. But we do have a number 28, which may be significant to you, but anyway, that it reduces to a 10. And in numerology, again, that reduces to a 1, which is, again, initiative and new beginnings. But again, the 10 also kind of, it's interesting how it corresponds to our 10 of Wands, which is, the burden, the end, and again, 10 is like the ending of a cycle. And then again, with the 1 being the new beginning, which is what we're talking about here. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's get the book on this. So Smoky Quartz Celestial. Okay. Transmutational magic. A stone for karmic healing, Smoky Quartz Celestial opens into different dimensions and brings powerful transmutation. So yeah, it could very well be like a karmic burden that you're kind of casting off or ready to kind of transmute. That's, karma, like karmic difficulties a lot of times push us into situations where we feel like we're working really, really hard. And again, yeah, so timing, Scorpio, Capricorn, yeah, I don't know, maybe you are a Capricorn. You could be a Scorpio or a Capricorn. Yeah, I'm getting strong Capricorn vibes with this, or maybe like really intense Capricorn placements in your chart that you're kind of working with right now. Yeah, it's like you have a powerful survival instinct and ability to go where others dare not. Yeah, face your deepest fears, turn them into golden gifts. Yeah, taking responsibility for your life. So there's something really important here, like really intense about like the proper uses for responsibility, like the proper expression of responsibility. Because again, you're clearly a very hardworking and responsible person. And it says, again, ground your efforts in the everyday, but retain contact with higher realms. So I think it's about learning how to channel your really disciplined and like sort of hardworking personality into, things that serve you spiritually, and things that, that are aligned and that are right for you. Yeah, it says embracing your shadow leads you to healing hidden in the darkest reaches of yourself. So this creativity, this like sense of passion, this, again, we talked about the apple and the cauldron, there's this sort of part of you that you've denied or hidden away, could be related to sex, could be related to creativity, whatever it is. You're being called to kind of connect with that right now and figure out how it can inform your path going forward. Because there's something spiritual there. There's something like divinely guided. Yeah, and the soul path is total transmutation. So it's, yeah, transmuting this like really heavy energy, this sort of like, this like, it's like Capricorn energy, like expressed in an unhelpful way at times. And you're just being encouraged to transmute that and to, kind of come into balance in terms of your relationship with responsibility and obligation. So yeah, definitely a relevant message here. All right. So the last thing I have for you, bit of a surprise, I've got this Harry Potter. I got these Harry Potter meditation cards recently, and maybe you're into Harry Potter, maybe you're not. It doesn't really matter either way. I've been able to connect them into the message of the reading. But yeah, there's these cards that have like different kinds of themes and meditations related to the themes. So yours is Flights of Fancy, which I think already is like super appropriate because you need to get out of this like grounded energy that like too grounded energy that has you a little trapped. So we're gonna see what your meditation is. It says Polyjuice Potion is a highly advanced potion that enables the drinker to take on the appearance of someone else. It is used several times throughout the films. Harry and Ron use it to become Crabbe and Goyle and infiltrate the Slytherin common room in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And Hermione uses it to take on the appearance of Bellatrix Lestrange and break into Gringotts in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. If you could take Polyjuice Potion, who would you turn into? What about that person or their life would you like to experience? Okay, so I think, yeah, it's asking you to kind of, to really connect with your imagination here and do some thought experiments and like some dreaming. And that may be hard for you. I mean, I feel like you've lost touch with your imaginative and dreamy self these past, however long it's been. Maybe even it's been like years, who knows? But it's like they're saying like what do you want to do? Like what, not what, it's like I'm here, there's like this difference between what you have to do. Like you're so stuck in like what you have to do that like you're not connecting with like what you want to do. And it's asking you like who do you look at and admire and think like, wow, I would love to have this person's life, and how is their life different from your life? Who would you be if you could be anyone, is what they're asking. It's like you need to kind of go back to the drawing board and just really imagine creatively in a way that like kind of lifts your spirits, right? You just need to lift your spirits a little bit and don't worry about how long this process takes, or if you kind of feel like really, transitional right now. I mean, this is divinely guided for you. And I think, again, the key to getting to this place of greater ease and greater alignment is going to be thinking about what you really want. And I mean, it may be a situation where you have to think about the things that you wanted to do as a child or what you enjoyed doing as a child. Like, where do you feel most imaginative and engaged, and what like kind of lights you up, and what have you lost touch with over the past couple years or whatever, when you've been so entrenched in these responsibilities? Like, what part of you did you lose? So yeah, I mean, just being imaginative, being creative, being open, being kind of it's like excited, or just kind of hopeful, like joyful about what the possibilities for the future are. All right, so that's what I have for you, pile 3. If you enjoyed this reading, I would really appreciate a like or a subscribe. I'm hoping to be posting some more readings in the coming days and weeks. I'm really excited about this. I also have if you're interested potentially in a personal reading from me going forward, I have an Etsy that I haven't really promoted as of yet, but yeah, you certainly have the ability to purchase a personal reading with me via the Etsy. I will link that in the description box, as well as all of the decks that I've been using. And I hopefully get to see you here again soon. And good luck with everything you're focusing on and dealing with right now. All my best, and thank you. Hey, pile 4. So you chose kind of a fun deck. I love this deck. I mean, I personally am really into like vintage clothes and vintage imagery. So of course I would love this deck it's called the Housewives Tarot or something like that. I'll link it in the description box if you end up liking it. But it's a deck that shows like a lot of different kind of like vintage housewife type imagery. Just kind of mid-century stuff like that. But at any rate, looks like, just looking at your cards, you're going through something kind of heavy, and I'm sorry to hear. I mean, it looks like, so again, we've got this, I'll get to your overall energy in just a minute because it's a really positive thing. But again, with the Magician and the 9 of Swords and the 8 of Cups and the 5 of Pentacles. So the Magician in this deck, actually, so in a normal tarot deck, the Magician is usually like a super positive card. It's about manifestation. It's about, using all the tools at your disposal to create the life that you want. But in this deck, if you look at the guidebook, the Magician is actually kind of like the trope of like the well, we have like a washing machine here. Like if you think of like a vacuum cleaner salesman or something, it's like the kind of guy that goes door to door and, you know, tries to get you to buy something at like probably a much higher price than it's worth. He's kind of like a charlatan, like used car salesman. Yeah, it's a real used car salesman kind of energy. And like this card in this deck cautions about taking something that's too good to be true. And I think, I mean, it seems like maybe you did, you know, it sort of walk into some kind of a situation that, you know, was potentially too good to be true. You thought it was great. I don't know if it was a job situation, a relationship. You know, I'm not quite sure what it was here. Maybe it was even like an investment of some sort. I'm not sure. Because, I mean, again, obviously it's causing you a lot of stress. We've got the 9 of Swords, the 8 of Cups. Something, you know, it didn't work out. You had to walk away. You had to leave the situation behind. And then we've got the 5 of Pentacles, which, you know, normally indicates some kind of like financial loss or some like a material loss of some sort. I mean, again, if this were the 5 of Cups, it would seem to me to be more like a relationship because that's more emotional. But the 5 of Pentacles usually talks about material loss of some kind. I mean, it could be material loss linked to a relationship. Maybe you lost a house, a property. Maybe you had to like move out of, you know, your significant other's apartment when the relationship went bad or something. I mean, who knows? It could be anything, but clearly as a result of whatever this was, a situation that was too good to be true that you know, kind of, you know, hopped into, you've lost something and this is really stressing you out because you don't know where you're going to go from here. You're like, oh my goodness, my life is in a shambles, potentially. If this is the energy you're dealing with, I'm really sorry. It's a terrible energy to be in. And, you know, if it isn't, this probably isn't your pile. But at any rate, and I'm sorry, I just kind of, I don't want to make light of the situation at all, but the only reason why I feel, you know, I feel hopeful for all of you is that we've got the 9 of Cups over your reading. So the 9 of Cups is one of the most positive cards in the deck. And here, you know, of course, it's about, you see this person opening a gift on Christmas morning. It's like the wish come true card. And the biggest, like, strong, like very strong message I'm getting from the guides is that, like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's absolutely gonna, whatever you're going through right now, it's going to be okay. You know, you're gonna come out of this stronger. Like, you're gonna find a way out, and everything is gonna work out fine. Like, whatever struggle you're going through right now is temporary and transient, and you're gonna come to a place where it's behind you. We can just, you know, forget about it. It's in the past. It will be water under the bridge at some point, and you will be in a much stronger, better place, whether that's, you know, in terms of relationships or, you know, finances or, you know, property or whatever the case may be. So yeah, those are the main messages that I have to deliver for you. So that's just kind of an overview of your situation. But now we're gonna get a few more tarot cards to kind of get some advice about how to move forward here. And you know, what your focus can be in terms of, like, you know, practical steps or, you know, your mindset. So we're just gonna get some advice cards. I'm gonna pull 3 tarot advice cards. I'm a much better reader than I am a shuffler, so I just tend to shuffle. I shuffle these really well before this reading, and I'm gonna just sort of fan and pull depending on where I feel guided. Oh, that's like one of these cards here. Oh, it's not this one, but it's like this one. Got it. All right. So we got one. I'm gonna pull the next one, and then, okay, sorry, 3. All right, so let's see what the guidance is for you. We've got the Star, another reassuring card, the Queen of Cups, and the 3 of Cups. Wow. Huh. Let me think for a minute. I mean, I'm really getting the energy that the Queen of Cups is someone in your life, like some kind of, like a female figure that you love and respect, whether it's like a mother or an aunt or somebody, some like older female or older, like more feminine energy. And then like the Three of Cups has the baby. Like I'm getting a very strong kind of family energy from this. And I'm hearing that like you may be embarrassed about your situation or really ashamed. Because again, this is a situation that like probably, seemed too good to be true. And it's like you don't, like you're ashamed of, the fact that it kind of fell through massively, and you're afraid people are going to look at you and think, oh, well, how could you have been so naive to assume that, that was, that, it was as good as it seemed to be. And like, they want to say like, it's like you have some kind of like a family member, like a group of family members that are going to be more supportive and forgiving of you than you think. And there are people in your life that you can reach out to for help and support that are going to come through for you. Like they're going to be there for you. Again, whether this person, this Queen of Cups, is a family member or just someone, an older feminine energy in your life, like she's going to be there for you, whether materially, potentially with helping you out with finances, or, if you need some place to crash, to stay, or just giving you like really good advice. Like there's just like, again, this like loving, nurturing energy in this Three of Cups. Like, yeah, like I'm just seeing like a mother and a baby. Like there's just like a real familial kind of maternal energy here. Like that someone, like it's okay to go to whoever this person is that you're thinking about, if you have someone like this in your life. It's okay to go to them. Like they're not going to judge you as harshly as you might imagine, because ultimately they just want to see you happy. And they have this like, again, they love you unconditionally, and they have this forgiveness for you in their heart. Or, not that you did anything to them in particular, but, just that, they're not like, it's okay. Like they'll be there for you, and they'll open their heart to you. And then of course, the Star saying, again, like reassuring, like it's going to be okay. You have every reason to have hope and belief and faith in yourself. Like they're saying, like, don't let whatever this was, don't let this compromise your sense of self-esteem. Don't let this compromise your, belief that you're like, that you're like a good person, or that you're capable and talented, and that you have a lot of like potential, and that like you're going places in life. Like don't let this situation get you down to the point that you lose faith or lose belief in yourself. That's a big message that's coming through, because like, again, this is a bump in the road is what I'm hearing. It's like, it feels so overwhelming right now, and it might feel so like stressful and just like, yeah, it's like you're really kind of, it's like really like it's it's sort of like the water that you're swimming in right now, but like you're gonna move through it, and there is support is kind of what I'm hearing. And again, like, yeah, I mean, there is support somewhere in your environment. Like there is support, and there's love and nurturing and care. There's family, there's community, like, and it's okay to reach out for help is what I'm, it's okay to reach out for help, and don't get down on yourself, because like ultimately with this Nine of Cups, like what they're saying is like, this is kind of a bump in the road. This isn't the whole story. This is actually a very small part of your story is what they're saying, this situation. And in the grand scheme of your life, it's not going to be nearly as devastating as you think. Like you'll be able to move through it and get past it, because you're supposed to. Like it's just a lesson. It's a learning lesson. It's not like a life-defining thing is what they're saying. Like it's again, the grand scheme of things, it's not nearly as bad as it seems, is kind of the energy that I'm getting. Yeah, you're going to come out of this and be fine. So yeah, I'm going to kind of put these cards here, and I'm actually we're going to get some oracles as well to kind of get some more information about these energies and get through some more advice for you. So we're going to start out with these archetype cards. These are the archetype cards by Carolyn Miss, I think. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce her last name, but yeah, I've seen these in a lot of readings before, and I just recently got them for myself because I really like them. They're really interesting. I love archetypes, and I think they're really helpful to kind of examine. So you've got Rescuer, and you've got Companion. Oh my God. What was I literally just saying to you? Wow. All right, so with this Rescuer, and I really feel like these are meant to be reassuring cards. Like sometimes we want to look more into the shadow attributes of these cards depending on the energy that we're working with. Because again, yeah, I mean, sometimes you're doing shadow work and working more with the shadow attributes, but I really think that these are meant to kind of reassure you. Light attributes here: provide strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. And then Companion, light attributes: loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. And what they really want to say to you is, like, I think part of the reason why this situation is in your life is because you may have a block around asking for help. Yeah, you may have like this subconscious belief that no one, like when you have a crisis or a problem, like there's no one there for you, or no one's gonna help you, or people are just gonna judge you and they're not gonna offer their support. And what they want to say is, like, that's not true. There are people in your life who love you and will support you unconditionally, even when you've made a mistake, and they want you to reach out. Yeah, I mean, the big message here is reach out, you know, and allow yourself to receive, and really like believe and come into alignment with like the love that exists in your life, because it is there. And you know, again, this Rescuer, like it's a positive thing in this case. Like someone's gonna come to your aid if you just have the courage to reach out, because people want to help you. People want you to be happy. And particularly, you know, if these are family members, like, yeah, you have people who want to come to your, come to your rescue. Because, like, ultimately, of course, like, we don't want anyone to, like, quote unquote rescue us per se, but you know, if you're in a tough spot, you know, there are people who will do for you what you would do for others, because I'm sure you're like a loving and caring person. Like I get that energy. And you have to learn to like receive in the same way that you give. So yeah, I'm really glad these came through, because this is, again, just really supporting that message that like it's okay to ask for help. And I think that's part of the reason why this situation is in your life, because, you know, it's put you into a space where you're kind of forced to ask for help. And that's like, I think that's part of your lesson here. So only good things can come from asking for help and being open about the fact that you need support. And it's okay. We all do sometimes. We all do. All right, so that's beautiful. So, okay, next I'm going to bring through these. These are cards from the Literary Witches Oracle, and I'm a writer. I love to write, so of course I was really resonated with these cards that, like, there are some magical objects and also female writers from history, which, you know, very interesting cards. So let's see what we've got for you here. We've got Shirley Jackson, Family, and Teacup. Oh my God. I've loved one, and every single one of these readings, all of the cards have been like so, just like so, you know, supportive of the same message. So again, what can I say? Shirley Jackson, Family. So you've clearly got like family members or members that, like, people that you kind of consider your chosen family that are going to be there for you. And, you know, you're being asked to really rely on your support network at this time. That's again just a more of the same, the same message. It's so lovely, so beautiful. I'm not sure what all of these cards mean off the top of my head. I have to just check quickly in the guidebook. It's not immediately apparent. So teacup, ease, rest, small mind. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, teacup, well, first of all, ease and rest, it's telling you to kind of, rest your mind, or just, kind of be at ease. Don't worry. First of all, it's saying don't worry, number one. Number two, the other thing that I'm getting with teacup, it's like, it's like kind of this energy, like when you go to your grandma's house and sit down for a cup of tea. It's like, I'm almost getting, it's like, you sit down with a family member, or like this loving older feminine energy over a cup of tea and say, hey, like I really need some help. And that help is going to be there for you. It's like the energy of sharing things over a cup of tea. I'm also hearing like tempest in a teacup, which is kind of like making something a bigger deal than it needs to be. Not that I don't want to say that like this isn't, this sense of stress that you have isn't a big deal. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of underscoring that message that in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be as big a deal as you think it is. And, there is support here. There is support. So, yeah, it's like really reach out to your support system. They're there for you and they want to help you. It's okay to ask for help. All right, and then I've got a few more cards for you, just like a few last messages. So I've got a Moonology card and a Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle card. So we'll check those out and see what we've got. We've got Prosperity Lies Ahead and Rhodochrosite. Okay, so we'll start with Prosperity Lies Ahead, New Moon in Taurus. So again, this is really kind of leading me to believe that this, especially, with that Five of Pentacles, that potentially there was some kind of financial loss that occurred here. And they're saying, like, again, there's hope to fix this, basically, is kind of, it's a pretty simple message. Like, whatever you lost financially or in terms of property or, whatever it was, the material thing is like, yeah, when you reach out to your support system, they're gonna show up for you. Like, they're gonna be there for you. This isn't a situation that's like, that you can't come back from. Like, it's, you're gonna fix it. Whatever you lost, like, you'll be able to recoup the losses and more. Like, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, and like a new moon, again, it's like a new beginning. It's a new start for you. And yeah, don't worry. Again, that same message, don't worry. Like, whatever this material thing was that got lost, like, it's gonna be okay. If you need financial support, people are going to be there for you, and you shouldn't be ashamed of allowing them to help you. Because I think, again, part of the learning lesson here in this situation and why you attracted it is because I think you maybe have a block around asking for help, and you need to ask for help. So it can only be a positive thing. All right, so that's that one, and then we've got Rhodochrosite, which is a 45. Maybe that number is significant for you. 45 adds up to 9, which is, yeah, that's the 9th house. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how the 9th house would necessarily relate here, or the number. I mean, the number 9 is the number of travel, expansion, spiritual study. But at any rate, yeah, 45 or 9 may be significant to you. Yeah, and I'm gonna look in the book for this one because I don't know all the meanings of the crystals off the top of my head, but yeah, that's Rhodochrosite. So 35. Here we go. The Heart Reviver. Yeah, you got that pink energy, which is kind of like the higher heart chakra. The unconditional love, which is kind of what you're being asked to receive here, is unconditional love from your family members. Yeah, Rhoda Cross-Eye teaches the heart to assimilate painful feelings without shutting down, dissolving denial and identifying ongoing detrimental patterns. It offers compassionate love and forgiveness. You face the truth with loving awareness. Yeah, that's so appropriate here. I love it. Okay. Yeah, Soul Path is radiating unconditional love and selfless compassion. And like they're saying that like there are people in your life who are gonna do this for you, who are going to radiate compassion for you. Yeah, it's like deep down you feel alienated, unloved, or unappreciated. So it's like you feel really unappreciated and unloved, like nobody loves you, but that's not true, and that's what part of the situation is here to teach you. Like people do love you. Yeah, begin to seek the gifts in your experiences rather than seeing the negative effects. And the gift here is that you'll be able to see how much support you have. Yeah, what an appropriate message. So just know that like unconditional love is there for you. And I think here it's like other people have unconditional love for you, but you also need to have unconditional love for yourself, because everyone makes mistakes. It happens. It happens that like it's impossible to go through this life without making mistakes. And yeah, you need to have compassion for yourself and realize that other people feel the same way about you. And part of having compassion for yourself is knowing that, it's okay to draw on your support system when you need to. So yeah, it's healing for you, healing in your relationships, just a lot of beautiful healing. And we've got, like I said, the pink of the higher heart chakra. We've got the green, which is the regular heart chakra, and also this sort of, the green of the money and finances energy. So that's beautiful. All right. So the last thing we have here is I have these Harry Potter cards, Harry Potter meditation cards, and I just got them recently. I don't know whether or not you like Harry Potter, the message will still be relevant, but if you do, it's an extra bonus. They're just kind of like, they're fun and interesting and thought-provoking. So each card has kind of a concept and meditation on the back. So yours is values and beliefs. So we're going to see what your meditation is. While we may come from different places and speak in different tongues, our hearts beat as one. That's Professor Dumbledore from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This quote from Professor Dumbledore describes the value of extending a friendly hand to people whose backgrounds and perspectives are different from yours. Think about some ways in your own life that you can honor diversity and practice inclusion. Yeah, and I think maybe what the message is here is that like maybe your family, maybe there are places where you don't agree with them about certain things, or you feel really different from them, or you feel like they've ostracized you, just that like, you feel maybe hard to connect with them in some way, and you feel that maybe they judge you for certain aspects of yourself that are different. Like maybe you've kind of gone your own way, and you've distanced yourself from your family because you feel judged by them, and like maybe you've made a mistake, some kind of mistake, financial mistake potentially, and now you need their help, and you're worried that they won't offer that to you. You're worried that they don't really love you, and that's not true. You're saying, while we may come from different places and speak in different tongues, our hearts beat as one. Because you're one family, and, whoever these people are, they love you. Whether, whether you're different than they are or not. And you need to trust in that and act on that. And that's, again, very much reflective of the message that we've gotten throughout this whole reading. So, okay, all right, pile 4. That's everything I have for you, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I'll be putting out some more pick-a-cards in the coming days and weeks. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button if you're interested. I also have an Etsy that you can order personal readings. If you continue to watch my videos and are interested in doing that, I'll link that in the description box as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Thank you.